no matter what.
In Nashville, I'm Forrest Sanders.
All right, Forrest, thank you. And that will do it for us today. I'm Chris Stewart. Denver 7 News at 5 starts right now.
I don't know how you curtail stupidity.
Drivers speeding and running red lights at an East Denver intersection. Neighbors say it's been a problem for decades.
Since 1988, I've just seen so many collisions here.
They contacted Denver 7 in the hopes we could slow things down.
What I want to see happen is that we just get some accountability.
Plus, a Florida judge voids the federal mask mandate aboard trains and planes. The White House is now responding.
This is obviously a disappointing decision.
And two local nonprofits joined forces to ensure they can continue to serve their community.
This partnership is really ensuring that the voices and the needs of the community are always here for 99 plus years.
And good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. We want to get to two developing stories for you. First, a federal ruling has essentially halted the TSA's ability to enforce a mask mandate aboard public transportation.
A Florida judge decided this morning that the CDC had exceeded its authority. Well, TSA was silent for much of the day, but decided in the last hour to pause the requirement.
So earlier today, DIA told us it's waiting for further guidance before it drops a mask order. Last we heard, American Airlines was still enforcing the mandate. However, we just learned that United is not. Also, RTD tells us it will adhere to the federal mandate until further notice.
So right now we are waiting for any updated guidance from DIA or RTD. The White House is also saying that it's assessing the potential next steps on this order. I know this is all confusing. For now, the CDC is still recommending everyone wear masks on public transportation.
And also developing this hour, a shelter-in-place order just lifted at the state capitol after multiple shots were fired near the Capitol building. Police say no one is in custody at this time. More importantly, no injuries reported, and police are still investigating that area. An intersection off East Colfax has a big problem with drivers running red lights and speeding through there. Take a look at these photos here. This is all of these taken near 14th and Syracuse.
And just this Saturday, a man was killed at that intersection. And neighbors tell us the driver who crashed into the victim's car ran the red light. Well, Denver 7's Patrick Perez is joining us live from that intersection.
And Patrick, a neighbor told you it's been a problem there for more than 3 decades.
Yes, Shannon, and it keeps happening over and over again. You can see what is left of that deadly crash right there. Some broken glass and car parts. The neighbors I spoke with say they don't want this to keep happening again and hope there's a solution sometime soon. A car crash in Denver's East Colfax neighborhood ended in tragedy Sunday afternoon after police say a man was killed.
It's the worst crash I've seen.
Matt Pierce and his wife heard the crash from their home nearby and rushed out to help.
My wife checked the person in the car to make sure that they were actually deceased or if they needed, assistance, and they clearly were deceased.
On Monday, debris remained scattered on the front lawn of Kurt Dahlin's home. He says the driver who crashed into the man's car ran the red light.
Since 1988, I've just seen so many collisions here, and it is indicative of what we see here quite often.
Neighbors say drivers speeding through and running the lights, both on Syracuse and the 13th and 14th cross streets, has been a years-long issue.
I've been able to see how much worse it really is because I'm home all day long.
Matt has snapped photo after photo after photo.
I stopped taking them after a while, but easily 40 plus.
Showing just how bad the problem is.
I have a real concern for my community. It's not just that I feel that I don't feel safe walking my neighborhood anymore. It's that I worry about the people that I see in this neighborhood who regularly walk here every day.
Even passing drivers wanted to let us know how they feel about it.
I live right down the street. This is worst corner. Crashes all the time.
Matt has reached out to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure before. We reached out to Dottie to ask how it's addressing these long-standing concerns. In a statement, a spokesperson says the Dottie team will review the police report from this crash and visit the site to determine if there are any near-term or long-term engineering improvements that can be made. These neighbors hope something is done sooner than later.
What I want to see happen is that we just get some accountability and some common sense changes for these streets that make sense to try to, prevent this from happening again.
And as for this deadly crash, Denver police says it is currently still under investigation and no charges have been filed. And
Patrick, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thornton police looking for a minivan driver who crashed into a motorcyclist this weekend and then drove away. The whole thing was caught on dash cam video and it was sent to our newsroom. Now you can see the white minivan swerve across multiple lanes on I-25 before cutting off another minivan and the motorcyclist. Well, thankfully that rider was wearing a helmet, didn't need to be taken to the hospital. Police are saying the white Sienna, the Toyota, behind the crash has temporary plates and front end damage on the passenger side.
Denver police say a 3-year-old boy accidentally shot himself this weekend. This happened in a car near Ruby Hill Park yesterday evening. Now, somebody drove the little boy to the hospital. Right now, he remains in critical condition, and police have made no arrests.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia has now begun its attempt to take control of eastern Ukraine. Russia's assault stretches along the Donbas region, where troops have apparently broken through at 2 points. Russian forces are also closing in on the capture of the southeastern port city of Mariupol. Now, despite that, Ukraine's leadership is insisting Mariupol will not be surrendered. President Zelensky said today, quote, "No matter how many servicemen get thrown there, we will fight. We will defend ourselves."
All evacuation orders have now been lifted near Glenwood Springs as crews work to finish containing the Duck Pond fire. Firefighters believe a person started this one. Now, the only damage caused was at campsites along I-70. It is 60% contained and has burned just under 90 acres. A 120-acre fire that sparked near Lyons Friday is now fully contained. All evacuations were lifted yesterday afternoon and no buildings were lost.
The U.S. Forest Service is setting up a national incident management team to handle potential festivities from the group Rainbow Family Living Light. Now, the group tells us 80,000 people are planning to meet in Colorado this summer to celebrate their 50th anniversary, with no specific site chosen just yet. Now, past gatherings from the group in Colorado have resulted in trespassing, illegal camping charges, and reported drug use. The Forest Service has put together a plan to ensure environmental damage is minimized and the area is cleaned up after the celebration.
2 nonprofits in Denver are partnering to cement their futures.
One focuses on improving food access and food security, and the other one, a real estate nonprofit, which will now make sure they both are able to stay put.
Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez visited both in the Westwood community.
For the last several years, David has made this farm on Revision's campus in Westwood come to life.
Este le llamamos el colmillo de elefante.
One piece of a much larger food access model at the heart of Revision's mission.
Our larger reform and food justice model includes family gardens, in which we take this urban farm food access concept into the backyards of our families here in Westwood.
Mariana Del Hierro is the executive director of Revision. Through a new partnership with the Urban Land Conservancy, a real estate nonprofit, they'll now be able to push back efforts to redevelop this area and continue their work for the next 99 years.
It allows us to stay in place, and it allows us to really expand what we can do along in Westwood and along Morrison Road. I know we have access to this corridor that can be developed with the voices of the Westwood community at the center of that development.
Revision will still own the buildings on its campus, while at the same time securing the land for the community through a 99-year ground lease provided by the Conservancy.
We see this as an extraordinary tool when we understand the displacement that so many other nonprofits have been facing. Really what we're trying to do is to anchor and promote the beautiful things that are happening.
As new development and gentrification shifts the landscape of many Denver neighborhoods, it gives Del Hierro peace knowing some things will never change.
It's definitely being able to set a legacy in Westwood, and it's not so much a legacy of Revision, but it's a community, a Latinx, a cultural legacy for this pocket of Southwest Denver.
The agreement also lets them concentrate on future projects.
We were thinking strategically and really looked for a strong partner like ULC who could really come in and bring their expertise of property development so that we could really focus on meeting the needs and expanding our programming here in Westwood.
At the end of the 99 years, there's also an option to extend the deal for another term, a move that could have an impact for generations to come in the heart of Westwood. Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
This is about saving lives.
The Denver Sheriff's Department wants to reduce fatal overdoses by giving former inmates the tools to save lives.
And hopefully focus on substance misuse treatment and sobriety.
And can the Joker help the Nuggets turn things around for Game 2?
Figured out, watched video, just try to be better. The pressure is not on us. We are underdogs here.
Plus, a local shelter is hoping you have some room because they don't.